But I guess first off, how are you?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm fine. I was just thrown off by that question because I'm just making sure all streams are up, and then you're like, first, how are you? I'm like, well,
this is like our therapy hour sometimes. So
you're
I
right.
just want to know how you are.
More importantly, how are you? Because if for those of you that are watching that don't know, this gal right over here scheduled out. What is the total number for?
Just yesterday?
Yes.
104 different UIL playoff basketball games. I scheduled out streaming crews for 104 across the state.
So that's what she did.
In the span of like 7 hours.
That is what she did in the span of 7 hours. So my question is, you should not care how I am. I am more concerned with how you are right now. Have you gotten sleep?
No.
In the past? Right, of course.
to give a Mallory Hartley answer. How are you? That was so good. No, we're good. This is definitely a very, very, very busy time of year, and it's so funny. I went to a mutual friend of ours' baby shower the other day, and some of the folks that I see on a fairly normal basis, but let's just say I don't spend the time when I see them getting into like the hardcore roots of what our job encompasses.
Right.
Like they know, football, we see you on Friday nights,
I bet that's all you get to do is go to sport. I'm like, yeah, it is fun. They
bless their heart, they're like, hey, now that football's over, you're getting a little bit of a break.
No!
And I just go like laughs in pain. You know the little gif of the little kid that's being interviewed and it's like, do you miss your mom? And he's like like that was me when they would ask that. But no, it's actually been really, really cool because this, I have a deep rooted love for the game of basketball.
Yeah.
Like that is my sport. As much as I love football, basketball will forever hold my heart. And so it's been fun to get into this, and I know that you love the game of basketball, and so we're actually Ishmael Johnson, if you're not familiar with him, he's our managing editor of our basketball stuff.
Magazine,
magazine, website, all of that, texasbasketball.com. But he knows how much fun high school basketball is, and like I played it, I know, but I've never like dove into it from like this perspective. And he was laughing at us the other day because Mallory put him and I in a group text, and she's going, oh my God, did you see this score? Holy cow, look at this. And I was reacting to all this stuff, and Ish was calling a game, and he gets back, and all he says is, I've been trying to tell y'all this is fun.
Yeah, so another part of our lovely job is that we have to make sure that every single night that we have a basketball game that we have scheduled out, it is our responsibility to make sure that game gets up. And if it's not up, it's our responsibility to figure out what the issue and the problem is. So every once in a while, we like to stay up at our dear old office late and pull up 30 games at a time, you know, just to make sure they get up, But it's also really fun because you get to pick a game here and there to turn on the volume and actually pay attention to, right? And so the one that I chose was the Arlington Sam Houston versus Richardson by-district boys basketball game that happened on Tuesday night. And man, that game went down to the wire. And shout out to Josh Price, who was on the call for that game. Man, the energy that I think he is the reason why I was one of the reasons why I was so invested, because the energy that he gave off in the call was phenomenal. I mean, it was a great call. It was a great game. But after that, I texted. Oh, and then I also checked the score to the Hebron and the Allen game because the winner of the Richardson-Sam Houston game, which was Richardson, played the winner of Hebron and Allen. And so I checked the score to that game because I was like, oh, I bet Allen's up by
And this is when you texted us.
Yeah, this is when I texted you, because at that moment when I checked, it was the end of the Allen and the Hebron game. And I knew that Allen was probably one of the favorites to come out of Class 6A. Right, they're state ranked. They were one of the favorites to make it all the way to the state tournament in 2 weeks. And Hebron had upset Allen. And I was like,
in the by-district round.
In the by-district round. So I put you and Ish in a text. I'm like, guys, did you just see? And Ish was like, yes, welcome. And he was like, welcome to the excitement. I was already watching. I was like, cool.
Yeah, and then
Good.
the Lubbock Monterey girls game in the regional semi round, or regional quarter round is what they call it.
Yeah.
They ended up going into 5 overtimes.
5
And so we were,
overtimes.
and Monterey has like one of the best girls,
Elite
probably
Chavez,
like,
yeah.
the best girls basketball player.
Which, shout out to her, she is on the finalist for Mrs. Texas Basketball Player of the Year.
Let's go.
So, yeah, Ish announced that 1 hour ago or something on Twitter, and she's on the finalist list.
Yes.
So shout out to her. That's awesome.
Yeah, at DCT
Basketball
and
on Twitter.
TexasBasketball.com. Go look, because you can vote just like how we do Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year. We have a Mr. and Miss Texas Basketball Player of the Year. So yeah, if Ish just announced those,
Yes,
I thought they were coming out today, but I wasn't 100% sure. So go check on that. Go vote. The stat lines are insane, guys.
Wild.
Absolutely insane. But before we get to Miss Jenny Netherland, I do want to go ahead and pull up this graphic here. We have a ton of regional tournaments. So if you're not familiar with how basketball works, when you get to the regional round, how it works is you have a game on Friday. If you win that, there's 2 games in each region on Friday. Both winners then play on Saturday to punch their ticket. So these are the regional tournaments that we will have live on TexanLive.com. And 6A Region 2, the first game will be DeSoto and Cy Springs. The second game will be Cedar Hill and Cy Ranch. The winner of those games will then play on Saturday. For the 6A Region 2 final to punch their ticket. Then out of Region 3, it'll be Katy and Pearland against Spring Branch Memorial and Summer Creek. They will play on Saturday. 6A Region 4, San Antonio Clark and Laredo United South, and then San Antonio Johnson and San Antonio Brennan. So a lot of San Antonio representation there in 6A Region 4. Moving on down to 5A Region 3, Fulshear taking on Pflugerville, and then Hendrickson taking on Barbers Hill. 5A Region 3 is always really fun because you get those Houston Austin matchups, which is always really, really cool to see the clash between those two. I always enjoy 5A Region 3. And then moving on down, we do have one 4A tournament, and that is 4A Region 3, Hardin-Jefferson versus La Vega, and then Madisonville versus Waco-Connolly. I think that one has potential to be really, really good. So like we said, you can go to TexanLive.com or go to @Texan_live on Twitter. We've tweeted out game graphics with all of those matchups, what time they will be at, and then what time the finals will be on Saturday. So all those games are on Friday, all throughout the day. We've got them on TexanLive.com, and then on a Saturday, there will be high school basketball on the full time, because we've got games starting at all the way from noon until about 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. So a ton of high school basketball to be had. We will also have, I can actually pull this up real fast. Let's see. You're watching live coverage of me pulling up the Texan Live schedule. I have like 75,000 schedules.
There's a million schedules.
That's not like an approximation.
No.
That's like accurate.
No, I counted
numbers
today.
here.
I
She's actually spent my entire
That's
day
what I did.
counting, and this is what we got.
I was
to.
curious.
Oh, it's at the very top, and I missed it. Okay, so we also have a bunch of boys basketball area games. Katy and Katy Jordan should be really good. Fort Bend Marshall and Barbers Hill. Lufkin and Red Oak if you're in kind of the DFW area. If you're also interested in a DFW game, we have Mansfield Timberview versus Justin Northwest. Incredibly excited for that. And Dallas Kimball versus Frisco Heritage. So those all going on Friday. And then we also scheduled State Mariachi, which if you don't understand how hyped that gets me, let me be the first to tell you. That one will be broadcast on NFHS. But regardless, there's some women talking basketball for you on this lovely day, because that's really all we've been focused on right now. But yeah, so tons of basketball going on. We are excited for that. Girls State is next week down in San Antonio, and Boys State will be following that. So we'll have full coverage of all of those. Excited for that.